The Rage Quitter. You're up a tower, feeling good about your push, thinking you've got this match in the bag, then suddenly, connection lost, victory screen pops up. But here's the thing, they didn't disconnect. They just quit. These are the players who bail the instant things start going south, lose one tower and they're out, face a strong push and they're gone, fall behind on Elixir and they've already closed the app. They'd rather take the loss than even try to fight back. In their world, comebacks don't exist. One bad play, one mistake, one unfortunate interaction, and they're out of there faster than you can say, good game. You're left staring at a victory screen, wondering what just happened and why you even queued up. True champions of the competitive grind, really. This happens all the time in ladder, especially mid-ladder, where every single loss feels like the actual end of the world. These players are trying to climb fast, trying to speed run their way to the next arena, so instead of defending that massive golem push that's about to demolish their tower, they just quit and find another match. Sure, it saves them time. Sure, it spares them the pain of watching their towers slowly crumble while they scramble to defend with no elixir. But it also completely ruins matchmaking and denies you the full win you actually earned. You don't get the satisfaction of finishing the match. You don't get to see your push connect. You just get a hollow victory that feels like nothing. Peak sportsmanship right there. The worst part is, they genuinely think they're being efficient. They think quitting and requeuing is some kind of galaxy brain strategy for climbing ladder faster. Meanwhile, you're robbed of an actual win, and they're stuck bouncing around the same trophy range for months because they never bothered to learn how to defend properly. Quitting doesn't make you faster. It makes you predictable. It makes you the same player you were yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. But hey, at least they're consistent. But at least rage quitters leave. The next type never does. The Overdefender. You've been attacking for 3 straight minutes. You've cycled through your entire deck twice. You've sent push after push after push at their towers. 0 damage, not a single point, and they're just sitting there, dropping building after building like they're playing a completely different game. These players treat Clash Royale like a tower defense game, and I mean literally. They drop cannons, Teslas, Inferno towers, bomb towers, whatever it takes to stop every single push you throw at them. And their offense comes down to a lone Ice Spirit that accidentally crossed the bridge because they misplaced it. They're not trying to win, they're trying to not lose, and somehow that feels so much worse. Nothing says fun mobile game like a 6-minute staring contest where absolutely nothing happens. These guys force you to overcommit Elixir on every single attack. They make you waste resources trying to break through their endless defensive rotations. And then you watch, you literally just watch, as they cycle back to another building before your push even makes it to their tower. The game drags to overtime, then double Elixir, then triple Elixir. Both towers are sitting there barely scratched, and you're stuck in this ridiculous stalemate that feels like watching paint dry in slow motion. If you're playing an aggressive deck, you absolutely hate these players because there's no breakthrough moment. There's no satisfying push that connects. There's just endless defense over and over and over again. Exactly what you signed up for when you downloaded what's supposed to be a fast-paced action game. Sure, they're masters of elixir efficiency. Sure, they've got impeccable timing on their building placements. Sure, they know exactly how to kite and distract. But winning by dragging out a match for 6 full minutes with maybe 3 total tower interactions isn't skill, it's torture. It's a war of attrition where you're not fighting their deck, you're fighting your own boredom. They've turned a fast-paced game into a patience test, and you're the one suffering for it. Revolutionary gameplay innovation. Think that's boring. Wait until you face someone who won't stop spamming. The cycle spammer, you just use your fireball. They saw it, they know you don't have it, and now they're cycling back to their Hog Rider before you can even blink, ready to punish you again. These players run decks loaded with the absolute cheapest cards possible. 1 elixir this, 2 elixir that, Ice Spirit, Skeletons, Log, everything dirt cheap. They're not building massive pushes, they're not setting up complex synergies, they're just cycling faster than your brain can process what's happening. Every single defense is a swarm card dropped at the last possible second. Every single offense is another chip at your tower. And somehow, someway, they're always exactly 1 rotation ahead of you no matter what you do. Totally requires years of practice and dedication, and not just muscle memory spam of the same 4 cards over and over. Very prestigious. These decks absolutely dominate mid-ladder, and they're everywhere you look. You can't escape them. They punish any elixir leak. You're up 1 elixir, and they're already crossing the bridge. They punish any misplay. You place a card 1 tile wrong, and suddenly you're down a tower. They punish any moment where you're not paying complete attention. You glance at your phone notification and boom, 300 damage. Their swarms shut down your expensive pushes for basically nothing, while their chip damage slowly adds up for free. You're stuck in this agonizing low damage grind where one single mistake means game over, and perfect defense is just the bare minimum requirement to not lose instantly. The Balances team definitely sat down, looked at these decks, and thought, yeah, this seems fun and interactive for everyone involved. It's not that they're unbeatable, you can beat them, but beating them requires absolutely flawless play for 4 straight minutes while they just spam the same exact rotation over and over and over. They make one mistake and it's no problem, they cycle back. You make one mistake and it's game over. By the end of the match, you're completely exhausted, they've chipped you down to nothing, and you're sitting there wondering why you even play this game anymore. But remember, it's totally your fault for not playing perfectly every single second. And if that doesn't tilt you enough, their emotes definitely will. The Toxic Emoter. They hit your tower for barely any damage, maybe 200 health, maybe a tiny chip from a spell. Then comes the Chicken Emote, then the Laughing King, then the Crying Face, then they're still going. They're not stopping. They're spamming emotes faster than they're actually playing cards at this point. These players didn't come here to win. They came here to make you suffer. Every tiny chip, every successful defense, every microscopic advantage gets celebrated with an absolute barrage of emotes. Laughing Kings, Crying Faces, Chicken Dances, Yawning Princesses, you name it. They're spamming faster than the game can even display them. And it's all designed to do exactly one thing: get in your head. Real mature behavior from our lovely Clash Royale community. This behavior is absolutely everywhere in the game, especially in mid-ladder, where younger players treat emotes like they're in a trash talk competition, and Supercell just keeps releasing more toxic emotes every single season, while the community keeps complaining about it on Reddit and X. People actually rage quit over this stuff. They're not quitting because they're losing. They're quitting because some kid is spamming chicken emotes at them for 3 straight minutes. Players make critical mistakes because they're tilted out of their minds. Entire matches turn into psychological warfare where the actual gameplay becomes completely secondary to whoever can annoy the other person more effectively. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, it works. It actually works. Thanks Supercell for monetizing psychological warfare in a mobile game, exactly what this game needed to thrive. Yeah, the mute button exists, everyone knows it's there, but that doesn't erase the fact that right now, at this very moment, someone is sitting across the screen, spamming laugh emotes at you, and feeling really good about themselves. It's not strategy. It's not some kind of clever mind game. It's just being purposefully annoying to another human being. And somehow, through some twisted logic, it's become the single most effective tactic in the entire game. Peak competitive integrity. But emotes are just noise. The next playstyle is actual mind games. The Bait Master. You just used your log on their skeleton barrel. It felt like the right move. It seemed like the correct play. Big mistake. Massive mistake. Because now, the real skeleton barrel is coming, and you've got absolutely nothing to stop it. These players run decks that are built entirely around one simple concept: trick you into wasting your spells. Every single card in their deck demands some kind of spell response. Goblin Barrel, Skeleton Barrel, Princess, Goblin Gang, every card is screaming at you to use your spell right now. And the exact second, you use your log or your arrows or your zap on the wrong threat, they're dropping the real punishment, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Just a simple, straightforward deck that definitely doesn't make you feel like a complete idiot every single match. Bait decks are absolutely thriving in the current meta. They're everywhere, and they're winning. They cycle through multiple threats, forcing you into completely impossible decisions every single rotation. Use your spell on this threat, or save it for that one. Log the Goblin Gang, or save it for the barrel. Arrow the Princess, or hold it for the Skeleton Army. Every choice feels wrong, guess wrong, and your tower takes massive damage. Guess right, and they just cycle back to the threat, faster than you anyway because their deck is cheaper. It's this constant mental puzzle where every single answer feels incorrect no matter what you pick. Very fun and interactive gameplay that totally doesn't make you want to uninstall the game and never touch it again. The real issue isn't even the deck itself, it's the constant, unrelenting pressure of making perfect predictions for 3 straight minutes. One slip, one wrong guess, one moment where you hesitate and you're getting punished hard. No slips, perfect predictions the entire match, and you still barely scrape by with a win. Either way, win or lose, you're completely mentally drained by the time the match finally ends. But hey, at least you're getting better at mind reading. That's a useful life skill, right? At least bait takes thought. The next type just drops expensive cards and wins, the beatdown brute. They just dropped their big tank in the back, golem in the back corner, 8 elixir gone. You know exactly what's coming next, you can see it forming already. You're not ready, you're never ready. These players run the absolute heaviest, most expensive decks humanly possible. Big tanks in the front, splash damage troops behind them, support cards stacked up, the whole 9 yards. They spend the first 2 minutes of the match defending pretty cheaply, barely spending any elixir, just waiting patiently. Then they drop that tank in the back, and suddenly they're converting everything, and I mean everything, into one massive game-ending push that rolls down the lane like an unstoppable freight train. And once it's actually rolling, once all those troops are stacked up behind that tank, there's legitimately no stopping it. Truly the pinnacle of strategic depth. Drop big expensive card, win game. These decks completely dominate ladder right now, and everyone hates them. Everyone. The splash damage troops erase your swarms before they can even touch anything. The tank soaks up literally all your damage like it's nothing. And suddenly you're just watching in horror as your tower disappears in seconds while you're frantically scrambling to defend with like 4 elixir and a prayer. The community absolutely despises these decks because they feel like the ultimate high roll easy wins. No skill required, just drop expensive stuff in the right order and steamroll your opponent. But here's the thing, actually defending against them requires perfect elixir trades, frame perfect kiting, precise building placements, and exactly 0 mistakes the entire time. So basically they get to play on easy mode while you're over here doing calculus trying to figure out how to stop this push with half the elixir they spent building it. The core problem is how inevitable the whole thing feels. You either have the perfect counter deck, and I mean perfect, or you're getting 3 crowned in about 30 seconds flat. There's no middle ground. There's no close match with these decks. You either shut them down completely, or you get absolutely demolished. And that's exactly what makes it so frustrating to face over and over again. But remember, they're definitely the skilled ones here. It takes real talent and practice to place a tank at the back of the arena and then put troops behind it. Truly next level gameplay. But at least beatdown pushes are slow. The next type is already at your tower, the Bridge Bomber. They dropped Mega Knight at the bridge again. For the 5th consecutive time this match. Same play, same position, same everything. These players have exactly one strategy in their entire playbook. Drop everything directly at the bridge and see what happens. Big jumping units, fast rushing troops, charging cards with their abilities. Every single card just slammed directly at the bridge. Every single rotation is a complete full commitment to offense. No setup phase, no patience, no waiting for the right moment, just constant, relentless, mindless aggression every rotation until something finally sticks and connects. The perfect embodiment of work smarter, not harder. Except they're somehow not doing either one. These players are absolutely flooding the current meta. You cannot escape them. They exploit any elixir advantage you give them from a successful defense and immediately convert it into another bridge push. They chain their card abilities together to bypass your buildings and force these completely chaotic scrambles where you're always one step behind, always reacting, never in control. The entire playstyle is just spam everything at the bridge until something finally works. And if you're not ready for the next wave, if you're even slightly out of position, if you're down even 1 elixir, taking 1,000 damage before you can even react to what's happening. Masterful execution of the ancient throw stuff at the wall and hope something sticks strategy. Sun Tzu definitely wrote about this one. I'm sure of it. It's the actual definition of brain-dead gameplay. No thought process. No timing considerations, no strategic decision-making, just bridge spam on repeat for the entire match. And yet, it works way more often than it should because one tiny slip, one small mistake, one moment where you're not perfectly ready means game over instantly. Punishing opponents with slow deck rotations has never been easier or more effective. Finally, a deck designed specifically for people who find breathing and blinking at the same time genuinely challenging. Bridge spam is annoying, but the next type ruins lower arenas completely. The Noob Card Abuser. You're sitting at high trophies thinking you're finally past the beginner cards, past the mid-ladder nonsense. Then they drop Mega Knight, then Valkyrie, then Elite Barbarians, then probably a Wizard for good measure. You check their deck and it's every single noob card you thought you'd escaped, and somehow, somehow, it's actually working. These players made it all the way to high arenas, but never once evolved past their Arena 7 deck. Every card screams, I literally just started playing this game yesterday. Except they're not in Arena 7. They're at 6,000 trophies. They're in Legendary Arena. And every single card is maxed to the absolute highest level possible. They're not skilled players who climb through game knowledge. They're just over-leveled enough that their noob cards actually function. The Reddit community has a very special, very intense hatred for these players specifically, and honestly, it's completely deserved. Go pull up any Clash Royale subreddit thread right now. Any thread, I guarantee you'll find multiple pages of complaints about Mega Knight users in high arenas. These cards were specifically designed by Supercell to punish bad placement and lack of basic game knowledge. They should not, under any circumstances, work at competitive levels. A skilled player should be able to counter these cards easily, but here's the problem. When your opponent's Mega Knight is max level and it's jumping onto your under-leveled troops, suddenly, it doesn't matter that the card is actually terrible competitively. When their elite barbarians are 3 full levels higher than your defensive cards, they still get massive tower damage at the bridge, even though you countered them correctly. X is completely full of clips showing these players spamming emotes and celebrating after wins they absolutely did not earn through any kind of skill or game knowledge whatsoever. The genuinely frustrating part is they actually think they're good at the game. They climbed all the way to Legendary Arena, they're winning matches against other high-level players. So in their minds, they must be skilled. They must know what they're doing. Meanwhile, they're running the exact same deck that every brand new player builds in their first week, just with massively higher stats. A true testament to Clash Royale's progression system working exactly as intended. Why bother learning the game when you can just level up your Mega Knight and spam it at the bridge forever? At least noob card abusers are predictable. The next type is suspiciously good, the pro player. It's their first match of the day. You know it's their first match because you can check. Somehow, despite this being their warm-up game, they're predicting every single one of your plays like they're literally reading your mind through the screen. You load into your first match ready to casually warm up, maybe get your daily crown chest done. Then, you face this person. Perfect placement on every single card, frame perfect timing on every interaction, predicting your spells before you've even decided to use them yourself, not a single point of elixir wasted on anything. 0 tower damage allowed through. You're getting absolutely demolished by someone who's playing like they just won the World Championship Finals, except it's 9 in the morning on a random Tuesday, and this is somehow their first game too. These players show up in Reddit threads constantly, all the time. People asking, how is literally everyone so good at this game after facing 5 of these players in a row? They defend every single push with surgical precision. They're cycling through their deck like actual machines. Every interaction is a complete masterclass in proper Clash Royale fundamentals. You can't break through anything, you can't get any damage, you can't find any opening whatsoever. Meanwhile, you're just trying to complete your daily quests and get your crown chest, and you're matched up against someone who apparently practices this game 6 hours every single day. The skill gap feels completely insurmountable, and it's absolutely crushing to your confidence. Here's the worst part, the truly painful part. This is just genuinely how good some people are at this game. There's no excuse you can make. It's not cheating. It's not smurfing with an alternate account. It's not over-leveled cards giving them an advantage. It's just pure, unfiltered skill difference between you and them. They're better at the game. They know interactions you don't know. They have timing you don't have. They read plays you can't read. And that somehow feels infinitely more demoralizing than anything else on this entire list. Maybe, just maybe, you're actually the noob card abuser after all. At least pro players earned their wins through skill. The next type just copies whatever's broken. The meta abuser, you check their deck after the match. It's the exact same deck you just faced last game, and the game before that, and the game before that. Actually, you faced this exact deck card for card in your last 10 matches. These players don't have a main deck. They don't have a personal favorite deck they've refined over months of playing. They have whatever the internet told them has the highest win rate this week. They're not playing Clash Royale, they're playing copy the top deck from Royale API and hope it carries me. 0 creativity, 0 originality, 0 personal touch. Just whatever deck the pros used in the latest tournament finals. The Reddit and X communities absolutely roast these players constantly for having no identity whatsoever beyond copying whatever's currently broken. Every single season, Without fail, the exact same meta decks completely flood ladder. When one card gets buffed, suddenly half of all ladder matches are running that exact card in the exact same deck with the exact same support cards. Everyone's running it, your opponent has it, the match before had it, the match after will have it. These players never adapt their playstyle, they never innovate or experiment, they never try to make something unique work. They just open up Google, type in best Clash Royale deck, and copy-paste it directly into their deck slots without changing a single card. Go to X right after any balance change drops, any balance change at all, and you'll see thousands of players complaining about facing the identical deck 20 matches in a row, no variety in matches, no experimentation with off-meta cards, just meta slaves mindlessly chasing easy wins by copying homework. The annoying part isn't even that meta decks are strong. Of course they're strong, that's why they're meta. The frustrating part is that these players completely refuse to think for themselves even slightly. Every single match feels identical because you're facing the exact same cookie-cutter deck over and over and over. They're not actually players making decisions. They're just copy-paste machines running someone else's deck. Supercell releases a balance patch and these players immediately switch to whatever's broken next without missing a single beat. Meta abusers are everywhere in ladder, but the next type ruins matchmaking itself. The over-leveled Smurf. You're sitting in Arena 12, grinding through progression, trying to climb up to the next arena. Then you match against someone with completely maxed heroes, max level evolutions, perfect meta deck, everything maxed to the absolute ceiling. Something's not right here. Something is very, very wrong with this matchup. These players are running alternate accounts with everything maxed out, max level heroes, max evolutions, max champions, everything. But instead of climbing ladder like a normal person, they're deliberately dropping trophies to land in lower arenas and stomp on underleveled players who can't possibly compete. It's not skill. It's not strategy. It's straight matchmaking, sabotage for easy wins. Nothing says, I'm good at this game, quite like deliberately beating up players who are 4 full levels below you. Real badge of honor there. Something to be proud of. The recent level cap updates made this problem exponentially worse. Smurfs now have even more massive stat advantages against players who are still grinding through normal progression. They're running top-tier meta decks with cards that literally two-shot your towers while you're barely scratching theirs with your underleveled cards. The community is absolutely furious about this. Community surveys show complaints about unfair progression and matchmaking absolutely surging after the update. These Smurfs climb trophies incredibly fast by stomping lower arenas. They completely ruin casual play for everyone trying to progress normally, and they make lower arenas genuinely miserable for anyone who's actually at that trophy level. The matchmaking system working exactly as Supercell intended, clearly. There's no counterplay to raw stat advantages. You can outplay them perfectly, perfect elixir trades, perfect placements, perfect timing, and still lose, because their cards are just numerically better than yours. Their troops have more health, their damage is higher, their tower HP is larger. It's not competitive gameplay, it's bullying with a trophy system attached, and it's actively killing the fun and experience for newer players trying to learn the game. But at least these absolute legends get to feel good about themselves for once in their lives. Smurfs are terrible for the game, but the next type just buys their way past everyone. The P2W Whale. They have every single card maxed to the level cap, every evolution unlocked and upgraded, every hero maxed out completely, dual hero decks running at maximum power, day 1 of the new season. These players didn't grind their way up like everyone else. They didn't spend months slowly upgrading cards and saving resources. They swiped their credit card. Thousands upon thousands of dollars dumped directly into passes, limited time shop offers, gem pack bundles, and whatever else Supercell is selling that week to instantly max their entire collection to the absolute ceiling. Heroes that take months to upgrade get maxed overnight. Evolutions that require grinding get unlocked instantly. Unbreakable evolution combos get fully upgraded. They're steamrolling every free-to-play opponent they face with completely overwhelming stat disparities, and there's absolutely nothing anyone can do about it. True gamers who earned their victories through the ancient and honorable art of credit card swiping. The recent economy update made this problem significantly worse than before. Resources got converted in ways that unfairly benefited spenders over people who actually grinded. Community backlash absolutely exploded everywhere. Boycott threats on Reddit, furious rants on X, entire threads dedicated to progression inequality. Competitive ladder has completely turned into a wallet battleground, where whoever spent the most money just automatically wins. Free-to-play players are stuck constantly facing max decks with superior stats in literally every single interaction, while their skill level doesn't matter at all when their cards are 3 full levels behind. Supercell definitely didn't see any of this coming when they designed their entire monetization model around selling progression. Total shock. Completely unexpected. It's the ultimate pay-to-win problem distilled into its purest form. You can be the better player. You can play smarter, make better decisions, have superior game knowledge and timing. And you still lose because they bought better stats with real money. It's not a skill gap you can overcome with practice. It's not a matchup you can outplay with knowledge. It's a wallet gap. Plain and simple. And it's actively ruining any semblance of competitive integrity this game pretends to have. But hey, Supercell's gotta eat, right? They've got bills to pay. So there you have it. 12 player types that make Clash Royale absolutely unbearable to play. If you want to see even worse behavior than this, check out the video on screen right now.